Just
Every
kidding.
roast is just saying Michelle Visage is the slut.
What? Okay, so what was? Oh, you know what? I that reminds me of All Stars 3 for so many reasons.
Why All Stars 3?
All right, and we are live. Hello, jurors, and welcome to our jury roundtable. Y'all will be discussing the merits or dismerits of the final three, but I am not going to be facilitating this at all. Um, please welcome the lovely from season 12, Topher, the twice incumbent.
Hello and welcome to the Jury Roundtable, where we are about to find out who has the least cursed legacy. So, we need a couple of things that we must get to the bottom of. Of the final three, who played the best? Who outwitted the best? Who outlasted the best? Who is the least cursed? So we'll go by one. We'll go through each player, discuss their pros, their cons, give everybody a chance to speak on it, have a little bit of discourse, respectful discourse, if I might add, and then decide who should be the winner. You're not going to decide right here, right now, but hopefully you walk away tonight more educated than you walked in. So please, all I ask is that you be fair, be unbiased, have in your heart the slight opportunity for any of the final three to potentially earn your vote. And yeah, spill the tea, please.
Okay.
Who are our finalists? Who are we deciding between?
So it's about Issa, who I'm not shocked people have forgotten them. It's between Noah, the last attorney standing, and Kathy.
Great. Let's start with Issa.
Issa's journey has definitely been
A
interesting.
journey.
A journey. I mean, going back to OG Rookie, in which they were saved by the wheel.
And they would have been voted out that night.
Oh, they would
So,
have
That is
been,
true.
and straight up, I think if Zach wasn't swapped over, it would have been Nathan then Issa.
mhm.
And
It
then
was.
pretty much from there on out being safe until merge, by their swap tribe winning.
I was gonna say you're
Um,
welcome.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I
I,
don't
I think
I,
I think I could probably speak most about Issa's game at swap. So brief, and this is the general thing that the rookies had a plan of. Now, Kathy did not follow that. But the main idea was we find the cracks with the attorneys, exploit the shit out of them, and we try and turn things around. Laura and Cassie did that perfectly. Issa and I did that, playing up our rivalry even more, so we were set up perfectly. Which Aaron, you don't know this yet, but we were ready to flip the fuck on you that tribe. We were setting up Giraffes to go out. We were setting up Kib to go out. We had it fully done. Um, and Issa definitely played a role in that, but I also very much know that I was the one putting in the most effort, and Issa was kind of going along with it because Issa had no other choice. Issa literally was this close to being in Kathy's position, where Colin, me, Laura, Cassie all liked Issa a lot, and Issa just did not put in the work. And I think that is the one thing that we will continue seeing throughout this is it's impressive Issa made it here despite being in so much
Mhm.
danger. The question is, how much of that is actually Issa's work and not other people just turning against each other?
and how many people just scooping Issa up as a number.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I will say I think that it's funny because you're like we were working and I'm like, I don't know because I think that Giraffes, myself and Aaron we're gonna try to get Issa out that round if we went to tribal. So
Oh, I was fully fine doing that as well.
yeah, so we were gonna get Issa, like we were definitely gonna try to get Issa out. Because we knew that like you were acting like you were fighting, but you guys were probably closer than it appeared.
It was
Um,
both,
So,
At
but
our last tribal before the swap, the reason why Isa was targeted is because they were trying to blindside V.
Mhm. So like it was
yeah,
very much real.
yeah.
I just tried to do everything to put myself in a better position. And like Giraffes, we talked about it after as well. Like you were ready to flip if need be. So that's why I'm saying that like every option was open because Issa could have gone, Giraffes could have gone because I talked to you about that, Kim, possibly. Giraffes was able to vote at queuing. Like it was a very fluid tribe to the point that Issa was in a better position, and that probably is the best position Issa was at. But even then, it's saying enough that everyone was ready to vote at Issa if need be. And that was their
Yeah,
best position to be in.
Mm.
I
And
was
as
gonna
we
say,
continue, I was gonna say, as we continued on to the game, the talk of voting out Issa grew. Um, but of course, as people were starting to get like eliminated, the last option anybody was worried about was Issa. So
Everyone was just fighting, like trying to get out the bigger threats.
that's
Mhm.
why you see me here. That's why you see X here. That's why you see
Mhm.
Kim here. That's why you see V here. And that's why you see John here. We really, like, of course, the beginning, we did start to see Issa's name a lot. But
Mhm.
as we continued, Issa was kind of no longer seen as like the head person. And as Kim just said, like, we knew for a fact that if we did not get Kim out eventually, they would carry they would carry all the way through to the end, and that's exactly what happened. Now, what made Issa go back in the shadows? It's really unknown. Just like we said, like targets were being made on people who are more competitive, who are being seen more as a threat. But yeah, that's exactly where I believe Issa got to the final three where they are now.
I
From my
mean,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, like, for me, like, the fact that Issa was the decoy vote for almost every single vote post merge, like, I think
Basically
that
for every
that's
tribal.
almost every single tribal. Yeah. And to me, that's because nobody cared if Issa was gone because Issa could be a benefit,
Felt
but
very
also like kind of neutral.
inconsequential.
Like
Yeah.
it was very
In case
neutral.
of an
Like,
idol, no one would have cared if Issa went.
yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
even during my tribal, I was pushing for a plan to get Kim out. I noticed it wasn't going, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll just vote Issa out because that's the easy vote. Like, literally, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone had Issa truly as the number one ally in a way that they wanted to work with Issa instead of taking Issa to the end and using them as a number.
I mean,
And
I
And
I
think
think
the
I have,
best, I think X definitely used Issa the best, um,
yes. I can
but
speak from
yeah.
experience with another game. Issa is good at these games. She is very smart. She is very strategic. And like
And
I was able to see that so closely working with her during swap. It's just for some reason that did not out this season. Sorry, yeah, thank you. Like so for some reason that just did not out this season. And I think it got very unlucky with her activity at times. And that definitely played a role in some people not enjoying them as much because they just weren't there to really get that connection going.
Yeah.
and we see this, and I meant to mention this earlier when I was saying this earlier, but too, we also see that whenever Issa goes back into the shadows and like the threats are being taken out, both I'm pretty sure like John X, you all can also agree that both Kathy and Noah and everybody else knew that Issa was not going to be seen as a target. Cassie, you too, I
Mm.
forgot. Cassie, you've noticed this too, I'm sure. But my name would constantly be thrown out. And we've seen this with like the past almost 5, maybe 6 rounds of the game, where now that I know for a fact this is what's happened, Kathy and all of them would throw my name out and then for elimination, and then they would say, Issa's the one that's voting you out. And as I said, like me, Issa, and X all worked together. We were like in this alliance. I can't remember when it started. I think it was like towards the middle of the merge. But that's kind of whenever, and we see this again too, because like people were trying to pin Issa and me to argue with each other. I can't remember what the argument was. Oh, it's because someone threw my name out for elimination and they were pinning it on Issa. So they were saying, Aaron, your name's being thrown out. Issa's the one that's doing it, and basically, like, me and Issa have even communicated saying, "Why are you targeting me?" And then Issa says, "I'm not targeting you. In fact, I've heard that you're targeting me." So basically, what
On
I'm
my
getting at
boot
is,
round.
I was going to say, basically, and I'll wrap this up. Basically, what I'm getting at is that people knew that Issa was not going to be seen
Mhm.
as a target, and nobody was really going to vote for Issa at a certain point. So why not just go ahead and throw my name out for elimination and just blame it on Issa? That's it.
So let me ask this to the room in general. Is there anything that you feel Issa did to make you go, and this could be any given round, to make you go, you know what, I don't want Issa to go here? I know that we're saying that, Issa was always the decoy vote. Was there anything that Issa did to persuade you not to vote for Issa?
It wasn't things that Issa did, it was things other people said or did. It's in
Correct.
my opinion.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
was never anything directly from Issa. I mean, Colin, you were just bringing up your vote. It wasn't anything that Issa said. It was always things that were discussed outside of that to
Yes.
propel the discussion in a different
It's the
direction.
same for my vote as well.
Yeah.
And
Um,
even on my end, like when I started talking with Issa more, it was because X had pushed me and Issa together more for us to get together. And
yeah.
when I was talking to Issa, it was great, but we really
Yeah.
didn't talk much before then, or like
It was the same thing
Same
for
for
I
me.
me.
guess I
Yeah.
guess really what I want from Issa, I want to know how much of their game was their game and how much was just things falling into place.
I'm also very curious because I've heard Issa talk about it at Tribals, how they've been talking paragraphs and novels in their confessional. And I'm wondering, it's like, about what? It's like if everybody else is doing the game for them, what were they actually doing? Because it
Well,
seems like
that's
they've had some sort of agenda, but we have no clue what it was.
but that's my thing though. It's like intentionality.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, what
for
it
me,
was it
I
intent?
exactly.
Sorry, I'm breaking up really
You're
bad,
fine.
but mine was intentionality. What was the intention? Was there intentional moves behind Issa doing the things that Issa did? Or, like you guys said, was it something that other people did? And that's what I want to know, because there's a difference between being intentional with being a floater or being dragged to the end. And there's a difference between just being dragged to the end, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So,
And I mean, and I will say, like we talked about this on call last night after Aaron got voted out. There's one thing that Issa could have done that I think would have persuaded most of us to at least give them a chance, and that was trying to go against Kathy and Noah. And they had the
Yes.
chance to tie the vote with Aaron and try to at least make an attempt to get
Hmm.
Noah out because obviously Kathy won immunity. And they didn't do that. And for me, that was when went, okay, so you kind of look to slide through to the finale at whatever cost. But the problem is that one move, even though they didn't do a whole lot, they didn't do a ton from our perspective for the rest of the game. That one move would have made most of us go, okay, I will hear them out because they
Hmm.
might have more to their game than we thought. But they chose not to, and by doing that, it's like you took an obvious duo you went to the end with the very obvious duo. You had the opportunity
Playing for
to
third.
try to fight it, and you chose not to. And for me, that speaks a lot. And it is going to be hard for me to change to be able to vote for Issa after that, just because I think they wasted an opportunity to show that they were playing intentionally, and that was their last chance, and it didn't happen. So
Especially in a round in which it wouldn't have affected them if it was a tie vote. It would have
yeah,
Yeah,
gone
and even if
far,
it
it wouldn't have gone
failed,
to rocks.
yeah, and even if it failed, it would have shown that they were taking the initiative. And like one
exactly.
of
Correct.
the first conversations in jury between Colin, Giraffes, and I, we kind of were talking about everyone, and I straight up told them, and I think we kind of agree at the time, like if Issa is able to make it to the end, and they can prove how like they really were taking it in their hands, they have an incredible story because they're the only person to really be affected by the twist, they would have been the only one to truly survive and really the game. And they would have been able to go from the bottom, be at the bottom the whole time, yet be able to continuously survive. And that is still an impressive fact to be able to do. The
Mhm.
issue is they didn't need to survive because in the end, it wasn't their actual work that got them to this point. And I think they really need to show through their answers that their game was intentional. And if they
which
cannot do that, then I think it's going to be very difficult.
and I
I
mean, of
agree.
course, coming from me, since I was the last one voted out and I'm the most newest here in the jury, as we can see, Issa does not really have much to this season. The only thing Issa has is that they won a challenge once. And the sad thing is, and I say this in the nicest way possible, the only way Issa won that challenge is because I can speak to for I'm not on behalf, but two of the people that were in that challenge are in this jury, John and X. The only reason why Issa won an immunity challenge is because we were not focused on Issa. We were more focused on the bigger targets, which was Noah and Kathy. So what ends up happening when we're focused on them two? Issa slides on through. And it wasn't till like the last couple rounds, I think it was you, John, that finally went to go and attack Issa to at least try to narrow down or at least make the immunity challenge more of a difficult for Issa to win.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
let me ask about the game mechanics. How much of the game mechanics was Issa able to use? So this is sort of like the outplay portion. I know Issa won one challenge, but what else involved in the game was Issa able to use?
I have the biggest love-hate relationship with
Wheel.
twists, especially with the wheel. Because, like, yes, they were saved by the wheel, but the wheel is pure random chance. No advantage was used to update chances like that Jirasarai had that later were used on X. They just got a random wheel chance. I don't think they ever had advantages from the idle board. Correct me if I'm wrong. So
Not that I
we cannot
know
say
of.
that they were able to use those. And as you said with the challenges, they won one, and that's kind of it.
Mhm.
I think like they obviously like they were able to restore their relationship with me at swap after, I really pushed for them to go. But that was because I took that initiative. That wasn't their initiative. I was the one to say, let's have a call, let's discuss this. And I just straight up told them, like, hey, I know you threw my name out. I was the one that was pushing for you to go. Let's fix this.
Mhm.
It's difficult to find a way where they outplayed, especially someone like Kathy, who we know had an idol, was able to play that idol, who like Noah, who was able to do a lot of the challenges. It's difficult to find where Issa's shine in this.
I think Issa could have easily said I outplayed when I, you know, made it go to a tie or I made it whatever. But they didn't even do that. And the fact is
No.
like I have a lot more respect. Like I have a lot more now if Issa was with Noah and Kathy the entire game and Issa said, you know what, I want to go to the end with my people, that's it. I would have much more respect for it. But the fact is that like I would have had more respect if Issa went with Aaron because I feel like Issa worked more closely with Aaron for more of the game. And so in my opinion, like I mean, like Cassie had said, like I feel like even not even pushing somebody to fire, because Issa could have at least had that and been like, I used at least the tie element of going to fire at 4 to my advantage to be able to make sure that my ally that I worked with the entire game had a shot to be there because if I was going to lose, I wanted to lose to my ally or whatever the case may be, right? But unfortunately, I don't even think that they can even claim that. So, yeah, but that's just how I look at it.
Hello. I would like to speak a little bit if I could. Um, I want to say just three different points. First point, we all look at Issa as someone who didn't do much, and we have very valid points for Issa's gameplay. But I do want to mention and highlight this a bit more. A ton of us, the second merge hit was like, "Ooh, I want to bring Issa in. Ooh, Issa could be a number for me." We were all quick to try and benefit that for ourselves. And for some of us, it worked out amazingly. And for others, especially early jury members to almost the mid jury, it did not work out in your favor. I think that's a big point on
Mhm.
Issa. Yes, Issa didn't proactively do any of that. That was a lot of bigger, more vocal players doing that. But I do think that's a positive for Issa. It clearly helped Issa's game longevity wise, especially during the portion where Issa was being targeted. Issa was a target. They got through that. Um, I can say many of us failed the first time we were targeted, whether it was a blindside or we just couldn't get the votes. The second point I want to mention, and this is embarrassing for me, when Issa won immunity at Final Six, yes, it is a positive that they were not targeted. Everyone felt like they needed Issa or just didn't want to piss Issa off. But I went on a call with Issa and I full had every intention of getting Noah out Final Six, despite the conversation I had with Cassie, despite my worries with John. Issa did convince me, unfortunately, too, that John was the better option. And I didn't realize that
Ooh.
I probably should have kept John until after Tribal Council when I realized that Issa had me and Aaron, and Issa had a relationship with Kathy and Noah, mainly Noah. But I felt like Issa kind of got one over on me because it actually positioned Issa better than me. Obviously, I ended up going out that round, but I do think that's another positive, as embarrassing as it is for me. Third point I want to make, I don't actually think Aaron was Issa's closest ally. I actually believe that was me. And I believe that because the fact that Issa continuously did what I wanted, Issa continuously was working with me. And I do believe that if it came down to it, I do believe that Issa would have voted me out at Final Four. Granted, I think it would have been depending on Aaron's situation, would have been a tie. So I don't think Issa not keeping Aaron is like them turning on their or not backing their best ally up. I still think it's a fault. I think Issa should have showcased, hey, I am going to make a stand against Noah and Kathy because why are you not making a stand at Final Four? Like you're not in danger. It's time to make a game move. And yes, you probably would have had a tough time against a Kathy and Aaron Final Three, but at least you would have showcased you were making a move. There was no downside to that at all. So I do fault that. But I did kind of want to mention those 3 points. I feel like they're valid. I don't think Issa has done nothing. And I don't think it's fair for us as a jury to be like, oh, Issa never did anything for themselves when Issa really at times didn't have to. We made it easy for Issa. Do I think Issa would have survived a honest target on them? Like if some of us could have just been like, let's not target the big threats. Let's go for Issa. No, I don't think so. But I don't think it's valid to sit here and only look at Issa like they did nothing positive. Like I do think Issa made smart moves at times. I just don't think Issa was active enough. And as their ally, I do find fault in that. It was difficult for me. I would find out that
Mhm.
Issa had calls with someone like Kathy, and I'm like 3-4 days in waiting for a call, and I'm their closest ally. So I do think there's fault when you're not having those social conversations. Issa could have done so much more this game had they just talked to a few people.
I mean,
Right.
that's perfect to bring up because I remember during the merge vote, went in that morning of the vote, be like, it's going to be Issa. Issa said one thing to me the whole entire 3 days that we've been here. Why am I going to keep somebody here that's not even talking to me at all? So when the only message was, "Hey, Diva." So I mean, how can I really be working with anybody that's not saying anything?
All right. Giraffes, I saw your finger. So let's use this to sort of transition into the outwit portion. What is the agency that Issa carried over these votes that have taken place in the game? Giraffes, go ahead.
Of course, you would come to me at that point. But at that point, none really, from what I was not there that long, sadly, because of a lovely double tribal twist.
We hate that.
And but when I was there, Issa did try. Like from what I saw during, especially the first tribal where their ass was grass. They're like, as far as, of course, I wasn't being told jack shit by anybody other than like two other people besides Issa what exactly was going on. And even then, that was like, I was getting like fifth person hand information the entire time I was in the game until like the last two rounds, because of course. But basically, the first two rounds where it was an actual legitimate possibility that Issa was going to be the vote, Issa did put their ass on the pavement and they worked their butts off. They saved they got everybody. They somehow got enough people together around them, of either being like, "Hey, I'm not that active. Why?" Something. I don't know what voodoo they did because they're from Florida. I don't know what voodoo they did, but they got people to vote out Colin. And then again, next round, it's like, oh, Issa's definitely going this time. All I heard that day was Issa. I'm definitely voting Issa. And then, I got wheeled off and couldn't actually see shit or vote. And then all of a sudden, I see people trickling in, and Issa's the first one to say something in the tribe chat. I'm like, I thought Issa was the for sure this round. And then I go and I see V's gone. So I'm just like, okay, what? Because Issa and V at that point were kind of in the same boat, only in different ends of the boat. Issa was the more quiet of Meat Shield. V was the more vocal Meat Shield. So like, why did we get rid of the vocal Meat Shield that could possibly take us even further, and not the quiet one that everybody that I've heard from so far have all agreed that they're kind of inactive?
Yeah, and that's something
So
that
was
I'm
that
still a
intentional?
little unclear of because I'm still not fully clear on how the vote even became Colin. V, I have a little bit of understanding, but like
I
how
don't, but hey.
I want to know how much of that was
I
Issa,
will say
or if it was just other
from my
people.
perspective, from my perspective, Kathy ran that Colin vote, in my opinion. And so whoever,
And
like,
mine.
I don't know if somebody else wants to chime in on that. But I think that it was Kathy that was pushing and didn't want to get Issa out that round. I personally don't think Issa, the reason why Issa was saved the first two rounds, to me personally, was not anything that Issa did. So that's just my opinion. I think that other targets in mind, and
I can add on to
that's
that as
just the
well.
game that I think that was played.
Now, I don't know how truthful X was. I believe you were. But like during the call we had after the Colin vote, you directly told me that Isa wasn't even meant to know about Colin's vote, or that you were shocked that that was the case. I don't know if that is actually the truth or not,
It,
because that
it
was
is
what
the
you told
truth in
me.
the sense that I don't know where like certain people came into play for that vote. I'll be honest, my beginning to merge game was kind of weak. But I do know that when I had the call with Kathy, and Noah in our 4-person chat, Issa was supposed to like almost toss the vote, wasn't going to be included. I only learned after the tribal. This kind of angered me too because I thought it was a good play. Cassie told me that they filled Issa in. I was so annoyed because I chose not to. I just kind of like filled Issa in other information. So that's kind of how Issa got included. From my perspective, I don't know where the other votes came for. I didn't push
Okay.
for Issa to stay. I definitely was trying to benefit from it, but I don't. From my perspective, at the time of our call, people were not, especially like a Kathy Noah. We weren't going to tell Issa. Of course, that
Mhm.
changed,
No.
but
And
I
going
Yeah,
just
into
I
that
felt
round, I will
bad.
say, oh yeah, I will say going into that round, that is where miscommunication happened between me and Issa because again, someone potentially, possibly Kathy, was going and telling Issa that I was pushing their name out, which I wasn't until like I heard again that Issa was throwing my name out. And I was one that for the first, it was either the first or second round, I can't remember. It's been too long in my brain. But I said, no, we shouldn't do Issa this round because we have bigger fish to fry. Don't ask me what I was thinking because again, that game goes on forever in my brain. Like I feel like I played this game for 2 months now, and I know it's only been like one. But that's the thing. Like, well, that's whenever me and Issa started miscommunication, and then we were saying like, okay, who's throwing my name out and who's throwing your name out, and saying that we're saying this back and forth. And then we never could figure it out. But of course, now that we are talking and we've communicated, me and Issa have communicated, we've kind of tried to fill in the blank spaces. And we have kind of said, okay, maybe it's Kathy. Maybe it's Noah. There was one time X, and it was like for a short time, we thought it was you. And there, I think it was like an hour or two. We thought it was you, Giraffes, that was throwing our name out to get it, like to throw
No,
Mm-hmm.
names out. Pretty much
I'm
during
doing
that
this
time,
because I can
every name was
attest
being mentioned.
it was most likely Kathy because Kathy
Mm-hmm.
did the same thing during the Kim vote.
Yeah, and also
So
during
that
my
was
vote where they
Kathy.
were saying that Kim was throwing my name out to get Kim and I to turn on each other after pushing a plan to Kim, just for me, a plan to vote Kim. I definitely think it was Kathy who was the one doing it.
I
I also did want to quickly say on X, you saying that it was Issa who convinced you to do John is actually a thing that they can claim. If they can
Yeah.
claim that with how they positions themselves and how they really were one of the
That's true.
people to push that John vote, that is something that finally gives us substance to work with. Because none of us would really know that besides you or possibly Aaron. So, like, generally, thank you for saying that. The more you know about Issa, say it because we haven't seen that. And that means it's just a tougher job for Issa at finale. So, like, the more info you have, say it, please.
Okay.
And
So
I will let me make a quick comment on that, just real quick. Let me just say this real quickly. And that's the thing. Like X, I think can even agree. I did try to fight very, very hard for John to stay, and then X was saying no. We should probably just go ahead and take the shot. And well, I kept on saying let's try to get the shot and go for Kathy. And then, as X explained, Issa was kind of the mindset behind that round into getting John out. And even X can agree. It did not settle with my stomach well, knowing for the fact that we were not going for a bigger threat. We were going for John, which I was like, out of all people, why John at this
John was a
moment?
huge threat, though, to be fair.
John was, but Aaron's point of view was
John was a
let's
big
take the
threat, but not the
immunity threat
biggest.
out.
So I
No,
want to move
I
on. I want to start to move on to the other two players, but real quick, we'll go through each of you. What's briefly the one thing you need to hear from Issa that could win you Issa's or could win Issa your vote? Cassie. Cassandra. Sorry, I meant to say Cassie and then I went to say Cassandra and I stopped at the same time. It
I
came
was
out
very
Cassie.
confused for a second there.
Yes.
Yes. So for me, the biggest thing I need to see from Issa is intentionality.
Laura.
I I think much the same thing. I want to know how much was what they did and how much was just a combination of luck and things, just other people doing things for them.
Giraffes.
I'm actually probably going to be one of the weird ones for this one, and I say
Like weird.
Issa, as of right now, has my vote. It's the other two that are going to have to fight for to get it out of their grasp.
Okay. V.
I don't know if people have watched Australian Survivor. I want Issa to pull the Christy Bennett out of themselves, where they're able to spin everything that we're now saying as a negative thing to be a positive for them. Because in the end, they did get dragged to the end, intentional or not, they did it. They made it here. And if they can show that it was intentional, kind of like what Cassie said, then I think they can get my vote. And I'm still very open up in the air to where I'm voting.
Colin.
For me, it's just like I really need to find out, was this a really well executed under the radar game, or was this Noah and Kathy dragging Issa to the end as a jury goat?
Aaron.
Actually, my name is iPad. Get it right. Sorry, I had to make that joke. I can't change it. I'm trying. Sorry. But anyway, what I would possibly say to Issa is kind of like what's already been said is like, okay, what is your like? What is one thing you can say you have done with your game, and what is one thing that you can say you could have done better?
X.
Hi, sorry, my phone decided to tweak. I'm gonna be honest. Issa has a chance at my vote, both from just I did get to play with Issa on a game perspective, and the fact that I feel like at the end of the day, at least Issa stood behind whatever they did, regardless if they were talking enough and making the move, versus someone in the final three that I feel didn't do that. That said, I would also need to see like a Christy Bennett. I want to see the Issa that I saw on call. I don't want to see the Issa everyone warned me about from the rookie tribe. I want to see the Issa that got on call, had personality, was not afraid to speak their mind, actually was strategic. Like if I can see that in final tribal, I would be impressed, and I think I want to see that.
All right. John.
Accountability and awareness.
All right. And Kim.
Own it, baby. You got to own it. Own your moves, own your shit. And also, why did you decide to sit next to Noah and Kathy over somebody like an Aaron or an X? Because in my opinion, go to the end with the people that you worked closely with. And if you lose at that point, great. But I want to know the intentionality behind trying not to get out Noah in that last round, or at least trying to. So own it, and that's it.
All right, perfect. That transitions us smoothly into Noah. So we kind of started with Outlast when it came to Issa. Let's start with Outlast when it comes to Noah. How did Noah last to the final three? Why was Noah not voted out and the rest of you were? Carry on.
Oh, can I
Challenges.
start? Can I start?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's pinpoint it. Noah was immune most of this game. I feel like Noah relied on immunity wins. I will say, I will point out that during two crucial rounds where Noah should have gone home, they did get through. But I truly think Noah just relied on immunity. And then when they had tough decisions to make, they just cowered and did like side shit. They didn't commit. I think that's been the biggest thing most of the jury has mentioned. Noah
Hmm.
could never commit. Like, you're playing a game. I had tough moments where I didn't want to vote people out, like a Cassie, but I committed. I didn't just toss my vote and hope they went. Like, you have to commit to a move and stand on it. Noah didn't do that. And I'm going to be honest, even if Noah like owns that, it's still going to rub me the wrong way because you had a chance in the game to stand on business and you didn't.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I will say this for sure, at least with me and this actually for me both goes for Kathy and Noah, up until the third round, I did not hear jack shit game-wise from them. Now, like literally not I've heard this or I'm hearing this person's thing. Nothing from either of them. Granted, Kathy was a little bit more harder to pin down to even have a conversation with for me, but Noah, I was actually having somewhat full-blown conversations and still not a damn thing. I had that door open being like, talk game to me, talk game to me. I'm telling you what I'm hearing. You ain't hearing nothing. I had not gotten anything from Noah until round 3 when I had to literally put my foot down and look. It was like, I have nobody. I am alone right now. Use me. I am a number. And I had to even get that much to do that from X to tell me to go and do that. Because I'm like, that's not how I like to play. I'm not the begging to be used person. I'm the, hey, Giraffes is there. Let's bring them in. We trust Giraffes, but I'm not used to having to actually put my foot down and be like, hey, I'm here. Use me. Please,
Hmm.
God. And that's
I
something
had a
that
pretty
really
similar experience.
ticked me off with Noah as far as the because it sounds like we're starting out with the strategical portion of his game, with the social, actually, with his game. It's that it took that. And even then, it was once I got in, then I got to see the crazy.
Which I
I
will
just think
say
the second
also.
time. No,
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead,
You
V.
first.
Go ahead. I'll go after you.
The main thing is, like, I knew Noah from before this game. I love Noah. Noah is such a great guy. And so, like, when we were chatting, we were having our game conversations. We were nerding about Pokemon. We were doing this. And then when I tried to bring it into game, it was, oh, let's just do Issa. But then I was really putting in that effort to work with Noah. I really wanted to work with Noah. Like day one, I said, if I gotta work with returnees, I'm doing it. And I was putting in that effort. And it just was never reciprocated. And I think Noah very quickly found his people, stuck with his people, and did not care about the rest. And that has the consequences of people not really feeling motivated to want to vote for him. Because, like as I said, we are not a bitter jury, but we are a petty jury. And if we can vote for someone to win that we want to see win, then we will prefer that over someone who maybe played perhaps a better game, but has not made us want to feel like they should win. And I think Noah is kind of in that scenario right now.
So to basically go off basically what you just said, V, it's the exact same story with me with the beginning. Noah came up to me and we introduced each other because I only knew him from this season. And basically, like, we just randomly talked about like Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, and all that stuff, and even Pokemon. And again, the same scenario. Every time I would try to talk game with him, he would automatically say, from when we went to merge, oh, let's go Issa. And that's basically what it is. The thing is with Noah is that me and him have had a rocky back and forth with this season. Those that have communicated with him, I'm sure, I don't know if it's the same story with you, but he gets very, very emotional over the smallest little things. It is like every time I would mention a move, like Cassie, don't get me wrong, like Noah mentioned you to me, and I said, why? Well, no, like, no, not you, Cassie. I'm sorry. It was
Kim.
Kim. Thank you. Sorry. But after Kim left, Noah felt like an outsider. And then we would voice call and he would get so emotional. And I just told him, I said, like, and he would start spamming and like making me feel like a bad person. And I told him, I said, Noah, listen, in terms of game, I was right up front. I said, I can't see you as someone I can work with, especially with how you're playing your game. It is not the game that I want to have involved in my game. But then he would always say, what about me as a person? I'd say, as a person, you are great. I would love to talk to you more outside of this game. Like the second this season's over, I would love to talk to you as much as you like want. But Noah is a person that if he is not in power, is not informed of that he is involved with someone who has power, he will flip. And it's like a crisis. It causes the whole entire tribe to like freak out because Noah is in the center and he is not in control or he's not in power. He has no idea what is going on and he wants everybody to feel like they're in the wrong.
Yeah.
So, John, what's your perspective? Because you were in that alliance with
I've got
yeah, with Noah and
I've got a whole
Fred.
lot to say here. Let's unpack the from John's package here. As somebody who was with Noah from day one, and like we were together from day one, we were like, we are riding this thing. We had wrongs that we wanted to right from previous games, and we wanted to ride it out. Noah was more paranoid than a whole entire fucking insane asylum. You literally like you guys mentioned this, like Noah was worried 24/7 that things were going wrong, even when things were going right. I mean, Noah was pissed off at Fred that Fred wouldn't kill 7 people on the final turn during the food chain game so that Noah could also get safety. It's like, you are going to be safe. Breathe. And then Noah, like Aaron said, did the best to also make people feel horrible about themselves and gaslight everybody into thinking that they were doing something that was horribly wrong, meant like physically or just in general with the game, and would make no. And when I finally also put the realization that Noah had a whole lot of like goings like did was behind a lot of the goings on and wouldn't take ownership for it. Specifically for me, when the disadvantage got played on me and Noah was behind, not only behind it, but was also talking trash about me behind it. It's like, no, you can't be telling me, oh, we're fam, we're this close, we're tight, we're gonna be like we're so good outside of this game. No, that doesn't work that way. It's like you can't have your cake and your pie and eat both too. So
And
you got to have it one way or the other.
And we see
and I
this really, really closely with not like with the Fred vote because because Noah was left in the dark because
No, Noah was not left out in the dark. Noah was
Noah
fully
was not
behind.
Noah was so no, like I can
So
actually talk about the Fred vote because I spent like 45 minutes on the phone with Noah that day because Noah and X had a blow up in the chat because Noah was refusing to consider voting for Fred and then was acting like the victim that,
yeah,
like X was like, look, I feel like Fred is making me
the
really confused. I really want to get Fred out. And but the thing is, like Noah made it very, very personal. And
yeah.
I spent 45 minutes on the phone with him trying to calm him down and him finally getting to the point where he was like, okay, well, I can't vote for Fred, but I won't tell him. And
Because
that's
it's this whole, well, I told you I'll never vote for you,
technically,
so
yeah.
I'm going to put
yeah,
my vote on a throwaway
so
vote.
that is
and
something that he
I
lied to
think
me about and I believed it. So that's
and
on
I
me.
think I can actually say that my elimination was the point where everybody got saw that in action because he literally
Mhm.
said, as I was like trying not to break down in tears because of the surprise of it all and the fuckery of it all, he said, "See, I didn't vote for you," and I'm just like, way to turn that knife at this
Yeah,
moment, like just.
And
And to
that's the
me,
thing
that
with that round. That is the thing with that round, Giraffes, is that like I don't I think someone else might have been there, I can't remember, but you and me saw how Noah was, especially with Fred, and it made you and it made me uncomfortable to the point where we wanted to leave that room and let them talk.
literally
I
said
did.
during, if
Oh yeah,
I can't remember who all
I
was
knew
there,
there
but
was
I know
someone
Cassie
else.
was there. I literally said, "You two can fight. I'm going because we have something to figure out right now, and I'm not going to waste my time listening to you two fight about bullshit right now." So me and Aaron copped out, and then buffoonery and everything.
And then I go into a room and it's Noah, Kathy, and Fred, and they are all going at it. So once again, I leave, and then all of a sudden, I don't know how many minutes were left of the double elimination, but as soon as it was time to vote, they were fine. Like it was like nothing had happened. Fred and Noah, like they argued that whole entire time, and then all of a sudden they're fine. So again, I don't know if because again, it made me so uncomfortable. I don't know like what deals were made. I don't know what words were exchanged. I don't know if Noah made Fred feel bad or vice versa. It's just from how I have seen from that double elimination forward, that is how I have seen Noah's game. And I kept on telling him I did not like it. And then he wanted to reconnect relationships with me. And I told him, I said, listen, you are not going to be my ally going forward. But again, we have bigger fish to fry. And of course, that bit me in the butt.
Can I just say something really quick
Damn.
too? I came into this game, obviously, you guys know I've played with Noah, and I actually have had. I feel very validated right now. Let me just tell you that, because I had very similar experiences in other games with Noah, and so coming into this game, I obviously knew that I was like, okay, like I have to work with Noah. Like Noah and I were cool coming into the game. We had talked about whatever had happened previously, and I'm not going to bring whatever happened in a previous game up here. But I will say, like, he was like, blue-eyed babies, like I'm working with you, blah 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 blah. And then my
Same
biggest
like
my
with me.
biggest thing was like my biggest thing was I think I brought it up last night, like in the animal game, like acting like I was dumb, kind of like to my face, kind of like rub me the wrong way. Don't make me feel like I'm like dumb. Don't gaslight me. Don't make me feel like I'm a certain way, and then proceed to vote me out. Um, just say you're threatened by me. Just say you're whatever, and vote me out. Don't sit there and like be kind to my face and then, don't own it. Like if you're that threatened by somebody, own it. Hey, you're a threat in this game. You're a social threat. I'm gonna vote you out. Point blank, period. That's it. Like, own it. And
Yeah.
that was my issue with Noah before. It's my issue with Noah now. The reason why I have issues with Noah is that I don't think Noah had to vote for me. Like, if you really knew I was going home, you didn't have to vote for me. You could have voted, even if you knew I was going, you didn't have to. I would have left either way. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't know, you will vote at the end either. So that's
And
on
that's the
that.
thing Kim, is like after you got eliminated, not Fred, sorry, Noah went ballistic saying, I don't know if he told anybody else this, but he kept on telling me, Kim told me this, Kim told me this, Kim's in this alliance, Kim was in this alliance, Kim was in this alliance. And I'm just sitting here like, Noah, out of all things, why are you telling me this? Because I didn't say this out loud, but me and Kim had a final two. Whatever information I was given, I did not provide any information to like really nobody. But like when it came to alliances, that's the one thing me and Kim were debating, not the like debating, but like talking about, discussing all the time was, oh, I'm in this alliance. I was asked to join this alliance, and then we would just kind of reconnect information back and forth. So I was just letting Noah talk, and I was like, Noah, I know for a fact every little detail you are telling me is a lie because there's no way that could have happened unless it did. Who knows?
So
You
let's
bring up
transition
alliances,
to
and that was another thing that Noah did. That just made put a big question mark out there. Noah actually got frustrated with me when he heard that I was in other alliances that didn't involve Noah. It's like you do realize this is a game, and we can be in alliances with other people.
And also,
And
he
it's
was
like
in an alliance that he was very strong on that did not include you. So it's a
Also
exactly.
within an
It's
alliance
like
with me that
it's
didn't
like I
include
know you're
you.
in. It's like I know you're in alliances without me. So
so
this
hypocritical.
is the pot calling the
I
kettle
agree.
black.
Mhm.
Um,
So let's
This
talk about
it
Noah's
just
ability
felt really weird.
to play the mechanics of the game. We said Noah won 5 individual immunities. How much does that factor into the decision making here tonight?
Did he win 5?
I don't know.
Are
That's
we
what
sure
someone
he won
said. I
5?
don't know.
He
I
won
don't think that's
4.
true.
He won 4.
No.
It's
I think the
impressive.
thing
You
is
know,
with
it was a
Noah.
lot.
He
Yeah, I
didn't
think
win
the thing
4,
is with
did he?
Noah and the winning though is because Noah knew for a fact if he did not win a challenge, there was a high chance that he would be voted out. Like the thing is with Noah is like, we can say all this stuff, but Noah knew for a fact eventually he was going to be a target. And yes, he was a target multiple times, multiple rounds. And those rounds that we all basically considered him being a target is when he went ham on the challenge. John, we can see this with the stupid paper challenge. Noah was like in pain, and he knew, like he even told me, he says, I was in pain for like 30 minutes of it, but I knew for a fact if I did not win that a challenge, I was going to be voted out. So
You
he
would
knew
be
was.
exactly when he needed to win.
Cassie,
This is
Cassie, I just want to
where
point out that I would have voted Noah out instead of you had they been
Oh,
vulnerable.
I
Like
hate I
I only
hate
did,
hearing
Same here.
that.
yeah, I only did you for
I
the
hate
reasons I
hearing
told
that.
you, but also
Yeah.
because Noah was immune. I wanted Noah out so bad. I was done with Noah.
Dang.
Again,
Mhm.
Cassie,
I
you can ask anybody. I went home like after that challenge and you got evicted. I keep saying evicted. You got eliminated. I went to my bed behind me and I sobbed for like 10 minutes. I was like, I lost a
That
great person.
The one
that's
thing
really
I'm the most sad about is that I didn't get to vote Noah out in the game. Like that's literally the one thing that I like really wish I could have done. So
yeah.
sorry, Noah, if you listen back to this. I don't know if this will be available, but that was one thing from this game that I regret that wasn't able to vote Noah out because Noah had found out that I was coming for him, and it's true. Like I knew at a certain point that Noah was going to have to go, and if Noah made it super far, Noah could win comps. Like I played a challenge competition with him where he won comps. Like I know Noah's strengths. I also know Noah's weaknesses. But the problem is like I said, like I think that it's unfortunate that I just didn't get to vote his name out. And now unfortunately I don't know if I'll be able to write his name down on a piece of paper in the opposite direction. So
And I will say, like, as far as like the game mechanics, I
Okay.
think the one game mechanic that Noah really, really had down was the immunities. The issue is, and this is saying from somebody who worked very closely with him and Kathy. I felt like outside of the immunity challenges, it was very much Kathy holding his hand and walking him through strategically what to do and how to respond to things. And she talked to me a lot about that. Like definitely she actually got annoyed about it a couple of times because he wasn't she felt like she had to babysit him sometimes, but she knew he was loyal to her. And so
Mhm.
And
I
that's the
just
thing
felt
with
like
your group of three is that Noah always said that he felt like he was the third member in the group.
And
And I
yeah.
yet he
mean,
stayed in it. And like
Yeah.
this is where the confusion comes from with my vote. John and I, we talked about this. We knew that like the big competitors this season were me, were John, were Noah. It really did not benefit Noah at all to vote me out in that scenario because I am his shield. I'm not only a big personality, I have a big mouth, and I know and I've been very public about my comp skills. Like everyone returnee was fucking scared in that endurance challenge at round 2 of me. Like, and they didn't, and half of them didn't
Partially
even know
because of
me.
your time zone.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, but like that's the thing. Like people know this thing, and yet Noah still thought it was beneficial to vote out an active shield. And it's the same thing. Like he's now actively staying in a trio where he knows or he thinks he's on the bottom of it. He gets rid of people who could be his shields. And each time I do generally think he had to be saved by these compens. And it was fully in his own control that that was the case. Like he had other people in front of him that could have been that shield to take the fall for if he like wasn't immune. And obviously, like he was able to get to the end. He was able to be saved but not winning Final Four and other things. That's impressive. Yes, that gives him credit. But there are multiple opportunities where he would have directly been voted out if he didn't get immunity, and it was completely in his own hands to fix that. And in the end, he wasn't able to do that because of his own decisions.
Well,
I
let's
can't
talk
speak for
about it.
everybody else, but real quick, I was going to say on behalf of me, the reason why Noah is still there on my behalf is because, again, he kept guilt tripping me and made me feel like I was the jerk if I did not do of what he said. And like it just made me feel like a horrible person, like a horrible player, and I had to give in.
So let's
And
talk
that's
about
where once,
control.
especially once the Kim vote happened and how all of that went down, I personally just stopped giving a fuck.
Thank you,
It's
John.
like
Thank you, John. Thanks, John. Love
that's,
you.
I mean, it's the way that all that whole entire round went down, and I just watched everybody just in between how the vote turned out, the disadvantage, and then especially the fallout then that led into live night and all of that. It's like, fuck this shit. I personally was like, I'm just going to keep trying to take out people that I know are running this game. And that, I mean, Cassie, we got a laugh out of that. But I mean, and that's where Noah still wouldn't admit what Noah was actually doing. Noah knew what was going on, knew what he was doing, but showed no accountability. It's like, take responsibility for your actions. Noah keeps, like, I love Julia Rowe. Julia Rowe is like my daughter. Julia Rowe, one of Julia Rowe's mantras is make your move tonight, apologize for it tomorrow. Noah never once took
Apologize the
responsibility
next day.
nor apologizing for any wrongdoings that they actually did. And
I
that,
just want to say
yeah.
two things too when you're done, John. I'm sorry. I
No,
have
go ahead.
bad service. One, if you're playing a good enough social game, you don't have to rely on comp wins. I'll just say that.
And
Period.
that's what Cassie did.
So you don't have to rely on comp wins if you're playing a strong enough social game and you've built enough strong allies and you have enough social power in the game. So that's one thing. Two, the other thing is I'm going to ask Noah point blank period at the end if he would have flipped on Kathy. If Kathy would have not won that final four challenge, would Noah have flipped? And I want to know the honest answer because I think I know what the answer is. And I want to see if he's going to be honest about his answer.
I'm
Because
glad you're
I
going to
think
ask that because I would love to know that myself,
I
Kim.
would love to
because
know that as well.
Yeah.
I think he's going to lie and say no, but I think he actually would have flipped on Kathy. That's my personal opinion.
Can
But that's how I feel. So I'm going to ask him that just so you guys know.
can I say something? I know this is not Big Brother, but I really do look at Noah, minus the masterminding, because that was Kathy, in my opinion. I look at Noah like Paul, like where they can win competitions, where they'll play, they'll talk to you, but they'll sit there and try and make it seem like it's other people's faults for their moves when they knew about it,
Yeah.
when they could have just owned it. Like Paul's big thing was never owning the gameplay.
Mhm.
Noah never stood on business and owned their gameplay this entire season, and it was such a constant trend. And I will bounce off this as well. When I took out Cassie, Kathy was very respectful, hurt but respectful about the game. Noah completely lost their shit on me on call. Completely put me
Mhm.
down. Said that our personal relationship meant nothing. That everything that we opened up about was not true at all. It rubbed me completely the wrong way because I struggled this whole game emotionally on making friends and being myself, but also playing the game. And Cassie knows that more than anyone. Aaron as well. Like I talked to them both about that a lot. I feel like Noah used the emotional aspect of this game to make people kind of go away from them or feel bad. And that's been such a trend mentioned. But I do think that's an issue for me. Congrats, respect on winning four challenges. I won one and struggled to win another one after that. So like respect on that aspect truly. But I'm gonna quote Noah here because they love to mention, oh, challenges don't mean anything for a winner. I truly don't. I actually do respect people that can play socially and get through that. And I also agree that Kathy helped save Noah a lot, but so did Issa. It's funny that Noah's in the end of the game with two people that saved their game better than Noah ever could. Like it's crazy to me. But that's my perspective on it and my vocalization for the Noah.
But see, and that's the
I
thing. Noah could not be trusted with any information because Noah is someone that wanted drama every single round. every single round. I have witnessed it personally because Noah asked me a very personal question. Noah has told me very personal information. I have kept that secret. But all of a sudden, Noah asks a very personal question, and I tell him because I'm like, Noah, you've trusted me with this information. I have kept it, and I will tell you. And then boom, he goes and tells every single person in the tribe. And I flat out call him out. I said, Noah, not even 3 minutes, and I already have people telling me this stuff. So you just proved to me that you are someone that is not trustworthy of any information at all. And that ticked Noah off because I called him out. And even he asked me, he said, Aaron, what has gotten you this far in the game? And I said, yes, I may not have won one single darn competition. I came close many times, but the thing that got me where I was is that I was on top of my game socially, and that was my goal because I knew for a fact I'm not going to be a comp beast. I was going to take this game and go socially. One, because I like it, like I wanted to meet people. I'm here to meet new people and make new friends. Like, I can see all my friends already. But like the fact that Noah is wanting to do that to me, and then Noah's all mad at me because I caught him in a lie, and I know what he's trying to do. It ticked him off. So you know what? That's how the game works with him. That's how he wants to play.
I think
So just
another
real
way we
quick,
can compare
sorry,
it.
V,
Oh,
can you
sorry.
give me just a moment? Yeah,
Yes.
no, sorry. I just want to interject. Um, I love the gameplay talk, love everything that everyone is bringing forth currently. Please give some respect to Topher here. He is your moderator. I've seen him try to interject many times, and
Sorry,
everyone's
Topher.
talking over one another.
Sorry.
So please, let's give him that respect, but also keep up the amazing gameplay talk that we are currently doing. Okay, thank you so
Right.
much.
Keep a slight structure, so and to give each finalist their own amount of time. So let's talk about how much the outwit part, how much control and agency did Noah have? We've talked a lot about how Noah made us feel personally, but let's talk about how much agency Noah may have had during the game.
My
I'll
point was honestly going to go about that because I think there's another Big Brother connection you can pull, and that's Cody and Derek, where he won the comms and the Cody, and Kathy was the Derek, the brain behind it all. And like obviously it's still, oh god damn it, my camera's being a bitch. But I still think it's like he obviously was a part of plans. I just do not believe for most of it that these plans came from him. And I believe that really it was Kathy who was kind of leading the dog, and he was the dog that was, barking loudly and being the threat. Because let's be honest, like all of us were expecting Noah to be voted out before Kathy. And I think Kathy really, that was one of the things that we're going to talk about later with Kathy. And I think that's something that they put off very well. And I think Noah put themselves in a position where they would always be the one taking a shot at before their closer allies, of course, besides Cassie because of X. And it's difficult to think he was able to make these really concrete plans because I feel like, for example, with the John vote, we know Issa did it. With Cassie's vote, we know X did it. With my vote, and Colin's vote, we know it was really Kathy pulling these things and X pulling these things. So we know people responsible for votes. Noah's name never really gets brought up with these things. And so then we start to think, were they really just kind of a follower? Or were they the ones helping these plans and having other people, take the fall and having their that's being increased? And I don't know what the answer is to that question right now.
I'm gonna actually try and I'll ask Cassie, as somebody that was working in that tight group, what do you think was how much do you feel that Noah was actually trying to pull strings in the decisions?
Not that much from my perspective. I mean, Noah definitely had input, but the thing is, like, a lot of times what would happen is that Kathy and I would have a one-on-one conversation, or X and I would have a one-on-one conversation, and then the plan would be put, like, we'd present it in the group chat, make modifications, which Noah would participate in, but he was not the one. He was not really the one to make the decisions or decide, like, hey, like, this is what I want to do and here's how we're going to do it. Like, he would make modifications to existing plans, but not really initiate any. And from my perspective, like, I do feel like it was Kathy did most of it, but like if not Kathy, it was me and X that were doing a lot of it too.
I
So
I do want to say this. And again, I only really worked with them for one round, which was the Kim round. And I will say, and this is something I can actually also harken back to Issa with. Me and Issa came up with an initial plan. Once everything started happening, me and Issa came up with an initial plan for the round of us, of what we wanted to have happen, of me, of us all agreeing, everybody besides John, Kim, and Aaron and Fred knew that we are going to hear that John was the vote. Those four were going to hear John was the vote. Everybody else knew the fact that it was going to be Kim. Aaron would be roped in at the last possible second because we needed the extra just in case number. And I also didn't want anybody else to have be like me, where no, nothing, and then all of a sudden, bam, something different's going on. So I was like, I want to have that happen to as few people as possible, and Aaron hasn't really done that to me, so I want that to be Aaron. Now, did I actually say that anybody? No, but that was my own thinking. And literally, like as soon as me and Issa, like Noah and Kathy made an alliance with me and Issa. As soon as me and Issa got in the alliance, Issa was having some issues, and so I was the main one talking for the both of us at that moment. I presented what me and Issa came up with to Kathy and Noah. Kathy and Noah basically said, "Oh, thank you for the pretty board," threw out our plan, came up with their own, and then not even 2 seconds later, of after agreeing still that those four do not know the truth, and Aaron only hears John, or Aaron doesn't even, those four think Issa or something. I don't remember what it was at that point because it got so, those two, I swear to God, I love them, the most scatterbrained people ever when it comes to any kind of strategical thinking. Not 2 seconds later, after we agreed that they would only hear, it was Issa's name because they were already floating out Issa. Not 2 seconds later, Kathy told Aaron the vote was John. And then I'm just like, okay, why did we even come up with any of this? Because now we're basically back to my game. So y'all just really wasted my time and everybody's time to do this. And from that one moment right there, I don't know how the rest of it went, but from that one moment right there, I can pretty much say they may have helped with the plotting and planning. I don't think they actually started any of the plotting and planning. And then Colin, I know you haven't really talked much. Why don't we hear from you a little bit? Like, what's your thoughts on things?
It's really opening my eyes to a lot of what Noah did because I was on the swap tribe with both him and Kathy, and the way things were going, especially with my calls with Noah and Kathy, is that there was like an inkling of like a hint that we were gonna be a three-piece, and I did a lot of emotional bonding with Noah, both of us being Canadian, both of us being type 1 diabetics, both of us going through high school as both of us, and just a whole bunch of things like that. And uh, you know, since Kathy was the person that pretty much ran my vote out, um, there wasn't really the same amount of remorse. And I mentioned in the jury chat that I was a little bit upset with X about it because of the talks me and X had had, but I'm actually now kind of realizing that I owe X a huge apology in that he was not the one I should have been upset with. I should have been upset with Noah because if I had did the same thing to Noah, Noah probably would have went off.
So let's move on to because I want to get some time in with Kathy. So I want to ask the same question, but we'll go in reverse order this time. What is the one thing that you need to see from Noah to potentially earn your vote? Kim?
Yeah, I need Noah one to take accountability. I need him to own his game. And I need him to stop being a liar. That's what I need him to do. So if he can not lie, if he can own his shit, and he can actually not be dramatic and actually stop playing the victim, then he can get my vote.
Okay. John?
Humility.
X?
God, where do I even start? The list is long. Accountability, actually owning moves, not being afraid to admit that they probably didn't have the best game. Tell me where their head and thought process was when they were being emotional. Like, was that just them, like a personal thing they were struggling with, or was that intentional game? Like, I would like to know that. Um, that said, I am going into FTC with Noah ranked third on who I'd vote, but I'm going to give all finalists a chance. You never know; they could always shock me. But yeah, I would like to see some of that happen, and that would make me feel better if I were to vote Noah to win.
V?
I'm just very conflicted because, like, on a personal level, I love Noah. I would love to see Noah be the winner. I think they're an awesome person. Game wise, I don't think that they were the most. It's the same thing with Issa. I just don't think it was as intentional as it maybe looks. God damn it. Um, and I think they need to show how their game was intentional. They need to show how going to the end with Kathy, sorry, was their full decision, and that despite, for example, thinking they're on the bottom of a trio and all of these things, that these were decisions that they felt confident in. Like, even with the challenges, if they felt confident enough that they can win out, then it's fine taking out shields like that. But was that something that was, their idea behind it? Or was it just, oh, I'm going to take out V because Kathy says so? It's kind of these types of things that I want to know.
Aaron?
So kind of like holy shit. Sorry, my camera zoomed in on me and I just now realized I have a sunburn. My glasses face on it and distract me. ADHD. I would say like pretty much like what I said earlier is like, was your game basically intended to make people feel bad if they did not go with you? If so, why was that the game that you chose to take?
All right, Colin?
What I'm gonna look for is distinction. What did Noah do differently that puts him a step above Kathy? Because what I'm seeing a lot is that and especially the way me and Kathy talked in the swap is that she kind of swapped Noah out for me.
Okay. Giraffes?
Vice
For
versa, my bad.
me, like I said, Issa is so far the Kathy and Noah are fighting to take my vote from Issa. But for me with Noah, I'm honestly gonna say it's like I want to see some apologies coming from him for how he's played, from how everybody said, and then of course my own experience. It's like it's all a game and all of it is meant for fun. But from what I'm hearing, it's like it sounds like a lot of it went way deeper than that, and ultimately none of it's that serious, none of it's that deep. We're all here having fun playing an online version of one of our favorite TV shows. Like, it should be fun, it should be light, and if there's a little bit of drama at the end of the day, after everything is said and done, you should be able to look at the other person and be like, that was fun, wasn't it? And then have laughs about it and inside jokes about it for years to come.
Mhm.
And I feel like in this case, that's not what Noah has done, and I just want to see him apologize profusely.
Laura?
Honestly, based on everything I've heard, accountability for one, and um, also much like Colin said, I want to see what sets him apart from Kathy. What did he do? Why should I vote for him over Kathy? If that makes sense?
All right. And
When
Cassie?
yeah.
I think for me, the primary thing I'm looking for, especially based on everything I've heard here, I think empathy is a big thing because I think that there were several times that Noah caused a lot of hurt. And if Noah can acknowledge even bits of that, like I would be content with bits of that. And implied in empathy is an element of humility because I agree that Noah does need to show like that he understands maybe the weak points of his game versus the strong points and ways that his social game really did not do him any favors because I think that's the biggest place that Noah struggled is kind of trying to steamroller. So I think empathy slash humility, I think if I can see that, then I would very seriously consider voting for him.
All right. Let's move on to Kathy. How did Kathy outlast? Why? What led to Kathy in the final three? Why was Kathy never voted out? And ultimately, how did Kathy outlast you? Floor's open.
I just want to say one thing before we fully get into Kathy, and this is especially for the finalists if you're watching this. I know a lot of personal things have been said, especially and maybe come across negatively, but we love you guys. Like outside of the game, we love you guys. Like this is us deciding the thing. Now to go on to Kathy. I think especially the swap was the most crucial point for Kathy's game because pre-swap, I mean, it was basically the dominant force of me, Colin, Laura, and Cassie running the tribe. And Cassie, you had your other options, but you chose us over that. So that showed like where the true core was of the tribe at the moment. But it was because of Kathy being able to connect with Colin that Colin was able to tell things to Kathy. Kathy took it in her own hands to work with Noah, to get a bond with John, to get a bond with everyone on that tribe, making her be safe and having Colin go first. And the moment Merge hit, she knew that she needed to do something about her positioning with the newbies. Basically, completely flipped her game around, took her game into her own action, proved immediately she could be trustworthy by cutting her own, and is sitting here. And I talked to Cassie and Colin about this. I didn't see at first how it was beneficial for Kathy to cut Colin and I because we were that loyal to Kathy. But in the end, it not only completely secured them even more, everyone kept trusting them. They literally told me they had an idol. I didn't leak it to someone, to anyone, and the same round they voted me out, being basically directly responsible for it. That is incredible gameplay. And then they sent me into jury wanting them to win. And I think Kathy really mastered the fact of cutting her own, having them be jury, and literally wanting them to win. Like I got voted out by one of my best friends in the game, and I'm happy about it. That shouldn't be the case. Like that's how crazy I think she played of a social game.
Um, I will say, like, I was actually like I actually was loyal to Kathy and Jaywin, but I didn't see a way out of voting Jaywin at that point. So
Well, yeah, we know
so
like the core in the end was us four because you decided to stick with us four in the end. That's kind of what I mean about it.
I just didn't want to go to rocks. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Yeah. But no, like I agree though. I think I referred to Kathy multiple times in the game and since being voted out as a mob boss, where she was so incredibly strategic, was willing to take emotion out of it while still managing to make people like her. Like she had people doing her bidding and thinking it was their idea, but she was so smooth behind the scenes that she and again like I played with her very very closely and I truly think that she just played most of us in circles and I don't think there's any shame in admitting that. I think that there were flaws. She definitely had some flaws in the way that she didn't always value the people outside of her immediate circle. That is maybe a bit of a weakness there. But at the end of the day, she navigated it and got to the end with with two people that realistically she's got a pretty good shot of beating. So,
I mean, I also on the flip side of what we talked about last with Noah, Kathy showed a lot of humility also too when approached with things that she may have upset people with. Like I flat out confronted her, not in the way that like Fred and Noah had a confrontation. Like I was like, "Hey, this is why I'm upset right now." Kathy literally said, "I'm sorry that that happened like that. I apologize if I made you that you are feeling this way." And I appreciate that. It's like you understand the boundaries of people. Like we understand, like Giraffes was saying, we are playing an online game, but we don't need to be taking pot shots at each other. All right, we don't. This is we're playing this game for free. Like we're here to have fun. This is a game. This is not something we're not playing for the $1 million out there. We're trying to just try and get a win under our belt to boost our own egos at the end of the day. But we don't need to be assholes about it. So I appreciated that. And Kathy also, when I was on calls with Kathy, Kathy made me feel like I was like having a fun conversation too. Like it never was, oh, sorry, we're playing for a buff. Wait, I was already in the buff. Um, sorry. Anyway, um, you always felt welcome with a call with Kathy. It wasn't like a call with Noah in which you knew you were going to be dealing with a bunch of paranoia. It was like a good, comfortable call. I would always feel like Kathy, especially you mentioned already on the swap tribe. Kathy came right to me, Noah, Fred, and laid all the dirty laundry out from OG Rookie Tribe. And we're like, okay, damn. My biggest question I'm going to have for Kathy is if we had lost, would Kathy have played the idol on Colin? Because I don't think Kathy would have, but Kathy put herself in such a good position that Kathy wasn't going anywhere on that swap tribe.
I think personally, like I said, for like the past couple rounds, I said that Kathy needed to be voted out. Otherwise, that Kathy was going to be at the top three. I have said that for rounds and rounds, and nobody listened.
Gee, what did I
So,
poach at 6?
but no, I have said that. And then, like, again, nobody listened. And then here we are, the final three, and Kathy's there. But again, like, as everybody has said, like, again with Noah and Issa, I loved talking to Kathy. I don't know why my camera's acting weird. I've enjoyed talking to Kathy every single time. Like John said, every time like you would get on a voice call, she would make you feel welcome. It would always be a good conversation. You would somehow always laugh, even if it was a game conversation or if it was a regular conversation, um, which is what I like. Um, Now, yes, Kathy saw me as a threat. And yes, I saw Kathy as a threat. And we just like again, like, and that's the one thing I can say is the last night, the last challenge before I was voted out, Kathy and I spoke one on one. And I said, Kathy, tell me up front. Let's get it done and let's get it over with so we don't have to stress. Am I the one going or is Issa? And he said, and this is exactly how she said it. She says, me and Noah have worked close since for a long time. And I really want to have a one-on-one conversation with him to see how it goes. I said, I said, that's fine, but I appreciate the honesty. Now, ever since I've been voted out and I have came to the jury, Kim has said some information to me that Kathy has told Kim. I'm not going to repeat it all because again, it's still fresh to me, but it's information that I kind of take on a personal level. Like apparently Kathy was telling Kim I was annoying and I was doing like I was this kind of person to Kathy. That to me is rubbing me off like it's rubbing me wrong on a personal level, and I do not appreciate that. Is that a question I'm going to ask Kathy on finale night, or is that something I'm going to ask after? I don't know. It's going to depend on how the vibe is, how the questions are being asked. But in terms of personal level, until like me and Kathy talk and get these personal feelings out, um, game wise, like I said, I've asked for people to vote her out in multiple rounds. Nobody listened. But Kathy is definitely like one I have enjoyed talking to. I've enjoyed talking like again all three finalists. They're great. Hope we all have good friendships after this. But that's exactly how I can say I feel.
And I will say this regarding like what Kathy said about you, Aaron. Again, I worked incredibly closely with Kathy. Kathy got annoyed by a lot of people at a lot of different times. So yes, like she may have vented about you at one point, but she vented about Noah definitely to me more times than she ever vented about you. Like she got very annoyed with Noah more than once. And so again, like she could get annoyed, which makes sense. Like that's her personality. Like I said, mob boss, very much a mob boss. But from everything she told me, she adored you. So she may have gotten annoyed with you, but from everything I saw, and again, I saw a lot, she did adore you, like on a personal level. Yeah, she got annoyed with you game wise sometimes, but I do feel like personally, like the love was there and the love was real.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I'm not going to take it personally because I know how Kathy's played this game. And that's the thing about it is just, like I said, that last night we had it was a quick conversation because we only had a time limit till it was time to vote someone out. And Kathy was honest. Kathy was like, I mean, she said it with a smile. I said, let's just do what you got to do for your game. You're the winner. I'm like, that's why I said, even like in my exit speech, I said, I have made it as far as I can, and I could not be more happier to end my game with 3 finalists who have earned their spot. Mainly, like, and I was talking to Kathy about that. Like, Kathy has earned her spot.
Let's talk about the outplay portion. How did Kathy use the mechanics of the game? Were there any advantages or twists or challenges won? Idols played. We haven't talked about, did finalists play idols? What about the mechanics of the game?
Well, I mean,
Noah
Kathy,
did play an idol, but it was Kathy's idol, from my understanding.
Mhm.
Um, and in all honesty, even then, if I had the aware of it all at that moment, out of pure shock of him playing it, I probably would have done something and probably would have changed it to where it would have ended up being a misused idol. In all honesty, because I think at that moment, if I had said something, knowing that I was probably in that moment of the live night person he talked to the least about strategy, if I said something and he thought me and him were working close together, I could have said, use it on Kathy. And he probably would have used it on Kathy. Whereas if I said that to Kathy, I feel like she would have been like, nah, I'm still going to use this on Noah.
And I think they didn't just use the idol as an idol. And that goes kind of back to the way they handled my elimination. And sorry that I'm talking about my elimination so much, but it is impressive that someone can sit here on call with you, say they have an idol, whisper you all of these really good, sweet nothings, and send you packing and do it perfectly. And they were still unable to use their idol just in case that their allies were in danger. And they didn't need anything else. They never were in danger for the wheel, so they never needed the wheel. They knew of Laura's advantages because Colin and I were probably kind of about talking about that. And like I think all 4 of us, we wanted to work with Kathy. So at one point, if need be, we probably would have used those advantages to benefit Kathy if they hadn't been needed to be used as swap. Even my advantage, I was ready to use that on Kathy if need be. And if I wasn't talking to Cassie last before the vote, it would have gone to Kathy. Like they were, if need be, all of these advantages would have gone to them and they would have had free picking. And in the end, they didn't need a single one of them. And that is also impressive because we're talking, of course, about like the twists and stuff, but they never needed them. And to me, that is the most impressive game you can play, where you never, like, even I think at Final Four, it looks like even if Noah won, Kathy was fine, or at least would have gone to fire. And it shows that they never needed a challenge really to be safe. They never needed an advantage to really be safe. They were just always insulated and completely safe by their own work. And that is crazy to me and incredibly impressive.
I can't really say much about a real idol because the only one I know about has been explained by giraffes. But I said this last night and I said it wrong because one, I just did a 2 hour challenge and it was like midnight and I was so tired. But basically, and Cassie, you and I, when we were in the game, we had these rants multiple times, is that we would not know an answer until like the last 10 minutes before tribal started. I think we all have had those rants. But what got me, I believe, to where I am is because Noah and Kathy had a plan. They knew for a fact that me and X were working together, me, X, and Issa. So what does Noah do the last 10 minutes before tribal starts? Noah wants to have a voice call with me, and I say, yes, let's just go ahead because I thought we were dead set and sure on our plans. This wasn't tribal, I'm sorry. This was the last challenge, but we were going over plans. And basically what Noah has said to me was, Aaron, Kathy will not tell you this, but Kathy has a super idol. And what will happen is if Kathy gets the votes and Kathy is the one that is basically voted out, they can use this super idol to save themselves, but pick one person to go in their spot. And Kathy has told me that she is going to pick you to go in her spot. So, again, and of course, why would I believe that? I don't know. But again, we've seen super idols before. It has happened before. We have not seen one this season. Not that I'm aware of. We have not seen one. So yes, I believe it. I'm like, crap, it's either my game or like either my game is over or like I'm gonna have to choose something else. And that's what got X out was that Noah basically swindled me into believing this. And that is one move. I don't know if Kathy was fully behind it, but again, if it was, that was a definite game change. Like that was a big move for both Noah and Kathy to take.
Now let's talk about outwit. What was the agency that was had in the game by Kathy? How much control over each vote did Kathy have?
Who did they not outwit?
Well, I was going to say, Kathy and I were both voted in touchy subjects as who is running the game. She and I were tied for that one. And somehow she, like, again, like, she was running a lot of the game. Like, she really legitimately was. I mean, she was thinking through these things, like, incredibly thoroughly and just, like, seeing all the possible, like, again, like, it was kind of insane. Like I was like, how are you seeing this? Because I'm not seeing what you're seeing. But like she managed to not get any heat despite getting tied for who was running the game. And that is huge. Like it's because she was incredibly smart with how she was playing.
And she was in so many different pockets also, but not overdoing it either, in which like people were catching on like they did with Noah. Like even though the two of them were thick as thieves together, people were seeing Noah's hands all over the pot getting greasy, but not Kathy's.
Yeah,
They,
that's why I was saying with Noah, like Noah was the barking dog and Kathy was the one leading it.
yeah,
And it was very impressive with how they pulled it off. I mean, like even on the original tribe, they had a trio with me and Colin, they had a trio with Jay and Cassie. They literally had an alliance with everyone but Nathan and Issa, who were to vote Nathan and Issa until Issa got saved. Like
yeah.
they were always in the perfect position to be safe. Even if they weren't at the top controlling everything, no one was thinking of voting them out. No one was thinking of targeting them, and no one realized how strong they actually were in the game.
And anytime
And
somebody pissed Kathy off
they
and
went.
she wanted to make the move against them, she made it count. Like when she came into the swap tribe, she came in pissed off, especially about how there was the group of four of you, and then the group of five almost got made, and Kathy had found out about it. She's like, gee, thanks, guys. This makes me feel really welcome. And she then made that her goal to then take vengeance on that, which I think we have Cassie to blame also for spilling the beans to Kathy about that. But
I told her in the swapped
No,
tribe
it was Colin.
as well.
I think I mean Kathy had found out even before that. Um,
Kathy knew. Kathy knew
Kathy knew before.
before
Oh yeah, because
before the swap.
Kathy told us the
Sorry, she
second
did.
we got to swap.
But she
She
was that good of a social player that we were
no,
just telling her so many things we should not have in hindsight.
Even my advantage, I was gonna keep that secret for Final Girls, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna tell Kathy because I like Kathy.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's the thing is
I
that
think
Kathy could not be one you hated. Even no matter what scenario, you never like nobody ever really said, I'm so pissed at Kathy or I'm so mad at Kathy. Nobody has ever said that, even though Kathy made all these moves.
People might have been frustrated because they weren't because Kathy didn't talk to them as much as she probably should have, which perfectly understandable. But excuse me, it was never out of something that Kathy did in ill will.
Mhm.
I agree.
So that famous question. What do you need to see out of Kathy tomorrow to earn your vote? Cassie.
I just need her to be able to articulate what she did because I do think that we can see her game, but the question is, can she put it together verbally in a way that helps us see it even more clearly? Because I think we already see it, but can she articulate it? That's what it's really going to come down to.
Laura?
I think I agree with that. Right now, if I were to vote right now, she currently does have my vote, but I want to know, can she articulate it in a good way?
Giraffes?
I don't really know for me because unlike everybody else, my experience with Kathy is very different from what everybody else's experience with Kathy was. I got very quiet, not saying barely 2 words up until I went to Noah and was like, "Please use me." And then all of a sudden, I couldn't get her to lovingly shut up. But to me, I don't really know. But all I know is that I'll be listening.
Colin?
Uh, on the tribal that I went home, there was something John said about how the game's a big puzzle and each round another piece of the puzzle gets put together. Something like that. And not only do I agree with that, I think there needs to be a core, the big core in the center of it all. And what I want to see is, can Kathy establish herself as the person who was that core?
Aaron?
I kind of want to ask Kathy the question that if I was in the final three, I would want someone to ask me this question: is where did your loyalty lie since we merged? Because we've heard all these different groups that Kathy was in, and I just want to know: did Kathy see herself sitting next to Noah and Issa, or did she see someone that she was more loyal to sitting next to her on finale nights?
John?
For all my wrestling fans out there, I need to see Kathy have some ruthless aggression.
V.
I think I'm going to repeat it as I said with the other two. Accountability. Own your game. Prove that you were this mob boss bitch that ran the game from beginning to the end and that you did cut throats because she did. But she made us all happy about it. And it's crazy. And I'm still very open about my vote. I think I'm leaning Kathy, mainly because I also just have the better relationship with Kathy in the game. And it's going back to that pettiness of I want to see Kathy win. And I would love to see that happen. I think their main thing is owning their game and really showing to us that it was them from beginning to end. They were the ones controlling it like how we think it was, and not like get steamrolled by Noah or Issa at Tribal. Because if they answered their questions badly, I'm gonna call the shit out of that, and they're gonna lose my vote. And I'm likely gonna be that person asking the question of which jury votes do you think you have? Because that is the most telling thing about a player in the game is who do they think will vote for them? And if they read that wrong, they could easily lose them.
All right. And Kim?
Yeah, I feel a little torn. I heard some things when I got to jury that I was voted out for because Kathy was threatened by me or whatever, and I just want her to own it. I want her to tell me why she was so threatened by my directness when I was never coming for her. So accountability. I didn't feel warm and fuzzy with Kathy, and I wasn't okay with her going out. So I just want to be very clear with that. And then two, I think just accountability, owning it, and I want to know where her, like Aaron said, where her loyalty is really lied. Why did she decide to take Noah? Did she know she was going to beat Noah? Et cetera, et cetera. And I want her to be honest. I want her to go toe to toe. I want her to fight. And like John said, get some be some John Cena or Nikki Bella up in here. So I want them to fight.
Hey,
Fantastic.
Nikki Bella's going for the title now.
Y'all have been absolutely wonderful. Please keep in mind, y'all are human. They
That
are
person
human.
wins.
Also, try to avoid taking, getting super personal. Hold their feet to the fire. They absolutely deserve it. But there is a fine line between personal and pressure. Celebrate the person that you'd like to see win. You can't win, so you now have the opportunity to champion someone. So make this finale a celebration and make it big, make it bold, make it epic. Make your season something to talk about. All right. It's in your hands now. You get to decide who's representing you. All right. That's my time. I'll leave you all here. You guys can hang out, talk, do whatever. I don't know what Benji has planned, but yeah, enjoy.
Just a reminder first, please let's thank Topher for his time to being here. You were absolutely fantastic. I always love anything that you are included with, and I hope maybe we get to see you again. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Topher, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.